Oh, it's so wonderful to see you again. Come in and unwind. Welcome back to the Celestial Cafe, a podcast for the magical mind.
So come, take a seat. Would you like something sweet? A star drop potion for the soul? Maybe an enchanted eclair as a treat?
I just baked a batch of warm cookies with a dash of moonlight. I wonder what will happen if you take a little bite.
Here is your bewitching beverage. Let each sip melt your worries away. It's time to open your mind. I wonder what magic awaits us today.
Okay, and welcome back to the Celestial Podcast, everybody. I hope that you had a really nice start to your new year. We did actually do it. We missed an episode. It actually happened.
To let you know how dedicated we are to actually not missing an episode, though, we really tried to make it happen. I had COVID, Dukes was sick, it was the holidays, and still we were like, maybe we can do one like early in the week. Maybe we should we can get something out for the beginning of the week. And I'm over here with laying in bed with COVID. I'm like, I can do it. But it did not happen.
It felt stress laced, and I would rather not bring a lot of stress in, you know. Yeah, it was the whole that's the other thing. We had Christmas, we had New Year's, and Panthera was traveling across the country to see her family. So
Not that far, but
it's across the country. I mean,
it's 6 hours south.
That's across the country. 6 hours over the country. Like Panthera was traveling.
Very clearly not from the Midwest, because in the Midwest that is just like a day trip.
Okay. Panthera was taking a day trip.
A day trip?
That's not a day trip. I'm not about to drive 6 hours there, 6 hours back.
A weekend. It was a weekend.
I literally in one day drove 5 hours to St. Louis, was there for a few hours, and drove back in the same day.
You're unhinged for that.
That is literally a day trip in the Midwest, though.
A day trip
I guess there's nothing to do out here, but still.
A day trip for me, I could stand 3 hours there, 5 to 6 hours there, 3 hours back. I could justify a 3-hour drive as a day trip.
I don't think I've ever done more than
when I think
2 hours max.
I was gonna say when I think of a day trip, it's not more than 2 hours in the car, because I want to maximize my time that I can spend.
It's like me going to Cedar Point is a day trip.
Okay, well, Panthera traveled a couple states away. That's still that is
my family.
The point is, we were all over the place.
Yeah. Turns out that I had RSV.
Oh my gosh.
Fuchsia had COVID. So now one of you two have to get the flu.
And I had Fuchsia had COVID, Dukesley had RSV, Panthera's traveling, and I had FFXI. So it was a lot. I caught the Final Fantasy XI bug. I've been playing that nonstop for 2.5 weeks straight.
I mean, all I did when I had COVID was play ESO. I finally set it up on my laptop so I could just veg on the couch, because sitting at my desk was exhausting.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I could just veg on the couch and not move and play on my laptop. Which playing it on my laptop is hilarious because the fan runs overdrive.
Trying to process everything.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, are y'all feeling better? Chat wants to know.
Yeah. I'm 95% better. I think I'm gonna have this cough for a while. If you guys make me laugh too hard, I'm gonna have this really ugly laugh. So get excited for that. And actually, even looking back to the day we were gonna record, I canceled personally because I woke up with a fever that morning and I was so fatigued. But even if I didn't have a fever, looking back, it would have been a mess of an episode for me. I would have been muting to blow my nose and cough and sneeze.
I think I chatted with you on voice chat the day after, and you sounded ill. So I can't imagine how you were the day before.
Yeah, like, and it was a good 2 weeks. Usually I don't stay sick that long, but it really knocked me on my butt. I was sick all through Christmas, all through New Year's, but I just started feeling better maybe like 2 or 3 days ago, and I'm happy to be here. I'm feeling pretty good today.
How are you
And
feeling? Oh,
nope,
how are you
I
feeling,
got
Fuchsia?
nothing to say.
I'm fine. Like, so for context, I've never had the cold. I've never had the flu. Like, I've never been sick in my life. I still like. I
Ever?
really own. Yeah,
What do you mean
yeah.
you've never been sick in your life?
I've never.
Wait, have y'all ever seen the movie? Is it
I have a stupid immune system. It's really good. Okay.
the M. Night Shyamalan movie with Bruce Willis? Is it Unbreakable? Sammy Jackson's in it too. And and Bruce Willis is like
No, but
he
pop culture reference number 1.
oh shit. Well, he suddenly realizes like that he is indestructible, Bruce Willis. And he's this is a 20-year-old movie. It's phenomenal. It's one of my favorites. But it's kind of a superhero movie. But he realizes that he's indestructible, unbreakable, because he survives a crazy car crash. All of this stuff, he doesn't die, and then he basically is like confronted by someone who is like, you can't be hurt, and he's like, yeah, right, whatever, get real, no way.
Oh, I can be hurt.
And well, you can't be hurt, you can't get sick, and that's what he says. He's like, have you ever been sick a day in your life? Have you ever gotten ill? And then Bruce Willis is like asking his wife. He goes into his boss. He's like, have I ever taken a sick day? And he's like, I've never been sick. And then that's when he starts to realize he's a superhero, and that's my point. You're a superhero, Fuchsia.
I have a really good immune system, but like my
COVID
body,
is the
like
kryptonite.
I feel like it's my body making up for how all the other ways it's fucked up. So like chronic migraines to the point of passing out throughout high school and college, like literally every day. Like I have stupid bones sticking out of my knees. I have no cartilage in my nose.
Stupid ass
Oh my
bones.
god, give me your bones. I can sell those in the auction house for a lot of money.
I have extra bones where they don't belong, and I don't have bones where they do
You
belong.
have
Nobody
extra
knows.
bones?
None of you know about my freaking nose, do you? Anyway,
I do. You don't got the cartilage.
I don't have cartilage.
I was like, we're just gonna tiptoe past that, and
But I
none
have,
of y'all know about
but I
my
have-
freaky nose, do you? Anyway, hold on.
but I have like weird bones sticking out of. I have extra bones sticking out of my knees. It's great. But I've never had a cold, so like I don't know what it's like to be like sick and miserable. Like I've literally never had a cold in my life. So I still
Alright,
I have a really good immune system, and I still don't know what it's like to be sick, like a cold, because I had COVID, and I really only knew I had COVID because my roommate had COVID. So when I started feeling really exhausted, I took a test. That was it. I was just exhausted.
I get sick.
I could not move. I had a scratchy throat, but that happens
The
whenever
amount
the
of
weather
times
changes.
I've had strep, and when I get down with a cold, I'm fucking getting down with it, like breaking it down sexual. So I'm just kidding. So I haven't had COVID, and I'm actually terrified because I have a lot of respiratory issues, like and I'm on all these medications right now, and I'm really terrified that I'll be the person that's in the hospital on the breathing machines and stuff. So it's like I don't need any kind of respiratory illness right now.
No.
Yeah.
And I
for
haven't
me, it was
been
just-
sick
I was
since before the pandemic. So the thing is, like, I haven't had any viruses. I used to get them all the time because I was working at a coffee shop. So every season I was picking one up. And I because I've gone so long without having it, I think the next like virus I catch is gonna beat my ass, because it's just gonna, because I don't know, like I haven't had one in so long that now my body's not gonna know how to deal with it. You know what I mean? Like we're just gonna, maybe I will simply retire. I will just expire. Like I will fade into the other world.
Perhaps it's all over with the next common cold.
I think this common cold might be it for me.
but yeah, so like COVID wise, I was just like knocked on my ass, like energy wise. That was pretty much it. Like I was laying in bed doing nothing, just because I was too tired to move. That was really it for me. And now it's just like, now it's completely fucked
you were
up my sleep
chilling.
schedule.
Dukes was not.
I
Duke's
was
just fighting for her life out
literally
here.
like I was
Yeah,
literally
literally.
just like sitting on the couch playing ESO because it was
What
too
the-
exhausting to sit at my computer. That was it. I didn't move for like 3 days,
I
but
had
that
like
was
the hot like
it.
going through like 2.5 tissue boxes in 48 hours sort of
Good
thing.
Lord.
Like it was truly disgusting.
My mom always for Christmas sends me like a couple of travel packs of Kleenexes, and usually it takes me like a whole year to go through the 2 packs that she sends me. And I was
Whoa.
joking to her that I was like, I'm gonna go through my whole year supply with this. I did not. This is one package, and it's like I barely used it.
Wow.
Just the other
Jealous.
day, I was looking for a box of tissues and we couldn't find any. My boyfriend was like, I thought we had like a whole stash. And I was like, I cry a lot, okay?
I know I had a box of tissues on my desk, and then I realized like I get little crybaby moments, and then B, like whenever I stream, because of all the makeup I do, and then the talking and talking and talking, I get like a really runny nose all the time. So I'm just like constantly like a
Same.
leaky faucet, it feels like. But so welcome to the Celestial Cafe podcast. We've had a holiday season. So this is a podcast where we like to chat about all things magical and fun. We meet up to chat about the full moons and then variety witchy topics. Today is kind of a mixture of everything. I think this is just we're getting started. So happy New Year to all of our little celestial star drops. Thank you so much to our two patrons. We really, really appreciate the support. That's so cool. And speaking of the number 2, that's that's the number of subscribers we're away from 100 on YouTube. So you might want to check out the Celestial Cafe YouTube and pop us a subscription over there, because we post these the video format of this podcast there, and then we'll have our big 100 and we can get our shiny URL. So exciting. Yeah, so Celestial Cafe, we're ready this year. We got a lot of great content planned for you, and we're excited. We're gonna try to land some guest episodes. We're gonna keep up with our full moon stuff. We're bringing in some mini episodes, so it'll be 2 of us maybe talking about a special topic. I think that Dukes and Fuchsia, for example, are gonna have a special episode on unicorn magic, which will be a lot of fun.
Us unicorns?
Yeah. So it's gonna be a fun year here at Celestial Cafe, and I hope y'all are ready to join us for that. So before we get started, we've already done our little check-in on how we're doing. So let's do a real quick round of what we're drinking, because here at the Celestial Cafe, we love our delicious beverages and our tasty snacks. What'd y'all bring to the Celestial Cafe with you today? I have Dr. Pepper and store brand nacho cheese Doritos.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a snack today.
I brought a snack. I don't think I'll be
Whoa.
eating them because they're too crunchy, but I'm gonna be going nom 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 after the podcast. So
Yummy. I have also featuring my new mug I got for Christmas. Throat coat tea. Just a classic. It's delicious, even though my throat doesn't hurt anymore. I love the way it tastes. It's so, so yummy. But I gotta show off this mug, and I'll describe it for those who are listening. It is an Alice in Wonderland mug that gives the appearance of multiple mugs stacked in each other. And on one side it has Alice, on the other side it has Curiouser and Curiouser. I love it.
and it's
So,
like they're stacked in a way that it's like disheveled, because like think about like round
yeah.
coffee cups
So
and
cool.
their big like handles, and how if you try to stack one in, it kind of tilts upwards and the other one tilts to the left. So it's very like mischievous and dysfunctional looking. It's very fun.
Topsy-turvy kind of, yeah.
Topsy-turvy, yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
cool.
love that. I love that mug so much.
Thank you.
Probably
This
holds
was
a
a
lot
sleeper
too,
gift.
right?
Oh yeah, this is like must be like a 20 ouncer or something. This is a big
I love
old
a
mug.
big mug.
I love it, and it's nice because like the top is kind of narrow, so it keeps the drink warmer longer.
Oh,
Because I've
that's
noticed
cool.
with big mugs, they have like really big, wide tops.
That's the
Exactly.
mug I have is
Yeah, and it cools it down. But this has like a little bit of a narrow top, so I feel like it stays.
Yeah, you don't
stays
see
nice and
very
warm.
like tall coffee mugs. You see a lot of
Right.
tumblers and stuff like that, but most coffee mugs that are like larger ounces, they're wide.
Yeah. So this was a
Tall.
sleeper hit for my Christmas presents. I was not expecting this, and I was like, real shit. Because if you know me, I love Alice. Oh my goodness!
Oh, come here, puppy.
That
A
was
ghost?
so puppy.
He
You
also
okay?
loves Alice.
Aw.
So good. Good for
It
you,
sounded
Bubba.
just like a person going like, ooh.
I looked over at my boyfriend first. I was like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "What's going on?" But that's what I have today, and I have a bowl of vegan shawarma that I'll try not to eat during the
Yummy.
podcast today.
Okay, Fuchsia, what you got?
I am also drinking some throat coat tea.
Ooh,
Um, so my throat is fine, but I'm still like a little
yeah.
like I get phlegmy during the winter just because of my
Generally,
asthma.
yeah.
Like I have winter induced asthma. It's super fun. But so I have some throat coat just to deal with that. And then I'm back on my soda bullshit. I got some
Oh
soda
no.
today.
Is
I
it
got
Coke?
some of course it is. It's Coke Zero, and I've got my water
I
with
do
Crystal
have
Light in it.
my big jug of water too. I
Oh,
forgot to
true.
mention.
Yes,
Yeah.
water.
My big Mississippi.
I have been drinking so much water. This is actually like the first time since I got sick that I'm drinking something besides water. I've just been drinking a ton of water. So
Yummy.
That's good.
The
I
best.
also have my water today, as usual. I've
You
already
got
Love it.
3
half of
drinks.
it though, and then I had to get my Mountain Dew. But I've been sleepy lately. I've been like going to bed. I've been going up to bed at like 9 o'clock, and then like watching a movie, and then reading a book, and then so I'm like sleepy. So I'm like, I need caffeine.
I
need
was I was
to get
thinking
stressed.
yesterday that I haven't had coffee in like 4 or 5 days because I've been feeling kind of weird. And like I got like a weird spell of nausea yesterday, and I was like, I wonder if I'm like dealing with caffeine withdrawal because I normally drink a cup of coffee a day, and just for the last 5 days, I either like I've been so obsessed with Final Fantasy 11 that I'm not even thinking about functioning like a normal person, and I've just been drinking soda, so I'm getting a little bit of caffeine from the soda, but no coffee. So 5 days in, and I'm not sleeping too well right now either. So maybe I'll kind of try to break my coffee shit. Like maybe I'll just kind of ride this. I'm like 5 days in without it right now. Maybe I'll just keep going and see how long I can go without coffee. And then maybe I can start to dial it back on the sodas too, because this can segue us into kind of where we want to be. What's your goals for this year? What's this year look like? Like, so I'm very much wanting to prioritize my body and health. I just actually, while I was posting a story on my Instagram, like, we're going live at Celestial Cafe, I saw a
Just like
post right before, just like that. That's literally what the story is. But the post was something like 2023 is going to look exactly like 2022 did, unless you get out of your comfort zone. And it just kind of like, that was just like a short, simple, like little slap in the face of like, what did you do 2022? I probably gained weight throughout the year. I'm not stepping on the scale. Same reason I look at my Twitch viewer count. I think that the numbers are very toxic for me. So gonna try to focus on, the physical daily, process rather than the results. There we go. That's the way to put it. I'm going to focus on the process rather than the results, and try to adjust the lifestyle overall. And y'all know from the past couple of episodes, like I joined the gym. I've still joined the gym, but I hit a bit of a like lack of motivation wall. I actually think that I'm dealing with some kind of depression right now that I don't really understand, but I also think it's like manifesting as manic right now, because I'm just like streaming every single day, playing video games for 15 hours a day, like, and I'm not doing anything else. I'm struggling to get myself to do my laundry and do the task. I'm getting there, and now I'm gonna start to be like, okay, time to go spend an hour at the gym in the mornings, and then I can come home and do the video games. And
just kind of adjusting.
my routine is whack right now, for sure.
You are literally describing my lifelong struggle with bipolar disorder.
Yeah.
Like that is it. Like I can sit down and have a manic like 15-hour session playing video games, but like, oh, right, I will do the dishes. I'll do the dishes.
Yeah, I'll do them.
I need to do the dishes.
I'll do them.
And then suddenly
After this match.
Yeah,
After
and
this farming run. After
Mhm.
I'll do it tomorrow. I'll get it in the morning.
Yeah.
I'll get it. Okay,
Yeah.
I woke up. Let me wake up first. I'm gonna go check. I'm gonna go
Mm.
turn. I'm gonna turn on the video game for a second. I'll go do them in a second. 5 hours later,
Yep.
like yeah,
Yep.
it's not healthy what's going on with me right now for sure. But
No.
and I'm actually starting to get a lot of like irritability with the game. And like so I'm like I'm overexposed to this. I need to step back. I need balance. I need
balance and everything.
it's a big balance issue right now for sure.
Yeah.
So I think that that's like right here in the immediate, but like looking at the long-term year, like can y'all remember where y'all were and what you were doing January of 2022? Rhetorical question.
Yeah.
But if you need a little help, I'm sure you could probably open up your cell phone and go through your gallery on your phone and just look at memes you were saving at that time, pictures if you were taking any, maybe check if you're a social media person, what you were posting on your Twitter, or and just kind of like try to reflect back to where you were at that time.
I really thought 2022 was gonna be my bitch.
I did too.
I
truly
really
did.
did too.
Yeah.
And I never think that about
Well,
I
'cause
never
Me
think that
neither.
I
about
was so
years. But like
excited
I
with like
woke
the
up
222,
like
you know?
like I
Yeah.
woke up like I woke up New Year's Day and I was like, things feel different. This is gonna be it. This is gonna be the year. And I never feel like that. And it was for quite a while. And then it very much wasn't. And now I'm like, it's like one of
Fall
those
like
like
ruined me.
it's
I was
like
so good up until the last
up
quarter, and then
up
I was
until
just done.
yeah. Yeah,
Mhm.
fall just came and slapped me in the face and just
Yeah. It's
kicked me in the
crazy.
stomach, stole my lunch money and said
Stuffed
bye.
you in a locker.
You got bullied.
I totally got bullied. And it's just like so it's like now I'm like I don't even know what I want to do this year because like my life is completely thrown off track from where I thought I was going to be 6 months ago. So I'm
I
like I don't know, my goal for this year figure shit out on what I want my goal to be, I guess.
I was still in a relationship that was unhealthy for me. I was still trying to be a different kind of content creator than I think I'm supposed to be. And I was completely like, I had my eyes on what I felt was the prize. And then I think I needed a little bit of a shakeup over the summer, just kind of like bring me back down to earth. And so I'm always trying to find the meaning in that broken arm thing. But I do feel like my summer was this big like because everything changed after that. I was looking at my Twitch stats or my like streaming history over the year, and I was like, there's a burst at the start of the start of the year, and then there's the depression when I'm dealing with my breakup. There's a burst in June when I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be a really powerful person. I'm gonna get over this heartbreak. I'm gonna do everything. I'm gonna go skating. I'm gonna go hiking, and then I break my arm, and it's gone for like 5 months, and it's just now like a month ago, I feel like I just started swinging out, getting some like hope, and it's like circling in with the winter solstice, which is interesting. I'm normally not in a high energy burst in the winter time. It's normally like early spring, but I'm like surrounded by people right now that are supportive and uplifting and helping me create structures and goals and like accountability for the stuff that I want to kind of change with myself and focus on. And I think that that's like been that should be a big focus. Like I'm also like thinking like we're doing like a vibe check-in. And I feel like everyone like it feels to me like I thought I was alone in the like funk, I guess I'll say. Like I'm like feeling down about a lot of stuff that I've like set myself up to do, and I'm like, man, now I don't want to do it, man, now I don't want to, like the gym for example. And when I got on the call with y'all today and I started realizing like where y'all's energy levels were, I was like, okay, I don't think I'm isolated in this. I think that there's a lot of like really funky energy of like maybe it's not quite an imposter syndrome or anything like that. It's like a why bother syndrome or and
We
maybe
still
it's
have a couple days of Mars retrograde, right? That should be ending
Oh
here
yeah.
soon.
yeah.
And
So we're
here's the
still in the
thing
Mars
too.
retrograde.
Yeah, but then
Yeah,
it's still Mars in Gemini direct, which is still not the most fun. Like Mars
also-
direct in Gemini before the retrograde was not a fun time either. So
But it's also important to remember that, like, with these retrogrades that are happening, it's not like a slingshot where it goes like it's going forward, then it starts going backwards. Like, there's this moment where it's seems like it's in the same spot and then slowly starts going the other way and then it slowly goes back this way.
Spectrum. Yeah.
Yes. So
Yeah.
Mars and Mercury are currently in that moment in different like sides of the retrograde
Yeah.
where they are revolving, directing in a different direction than they're used to, and there's this pause where it seems like it's standing still. And Mercury is usually a very fast-paced planet. Mars deals with a lot of energy movement, kind of flying around. So having both
Drive,
of
your
these almost
motivation, all of that is
yes,
Mars.
all these things are stagnant right now. So for anyone that's in oop, even Cooper's having a good time. So for anyone who's feeling very like still and immovable, not in a cool way, but in like that really crappy way. That's normal, I think, for right now. And to maybe just be like, listen, I maybe this isn't the time to like push, you know, especially which I'll be talking about a little bit because we did miss the last full moon episode. I'm gonna take like 5 minutes in a little bit and talk about this upcoming full moon, which is actually gonna be really chill for the first time in a while. So but I think that for anyone who is especially feeling stagnant, like right now in this very moment, this early January sort of dance, it's definitely reflective upon the astrology right now. It's tough out here, so I think that, but and there's a lot of shifts coming up astrologically as well that I think is going to shift a lot of big pictures, which should like ripple downwards to us as well.
Yep.
It'll be interesting looking ahead and seeing what this year holds for us. For me personally,
I
uh,
really
oh,
I was gonna say I really like what I see Blonde Days is posting in chat. I feel like I'm bracing for something and I don't know what. And I feel kind of like I feel like I'm gearing up. Like I don't know. It's like it's the start of an anime and I'm on my little adventure and I'm getting my little bag put together and I don't know. It's the fool's journey. Maybe that's what it feels like. It feels like the fool is starting right now, the start of the year, and it's like I don't know what this year is gonna bring, but I've got my little my cape of innocence on or whatever. I'm trying to look at this with like fresh energy, and I'm like sprightly and ready to go. I'm trying to like be as as lightweight as possible. I'm carrying the smallest bundle of things, only my stuff that I need. I'm curious. I'm going to take a leap of faith here and just hope that this goes well. Like,
that's what I'm trying to lean into as well, because I look back at last year and like I said, I really thought I was going to like be like really taking control and taking the reins last year, which was the exact opposite that happened, honestly. I think that entering this year with a quiet and thoughtful curiosity of what's ahead, sort of releasing the reins a little bit and allowing yourself to go with the flow. Allowing myself, I'll just speak for myself, allowing myself to go with the flow and just sort of absorb and
but isn't also like this year the year of the Chariot? Isn't that this year's card? Is the Chariot?
Yeah,
so it's like
aligning.
it's going to like I feel like it's
that,
going to be once things get moving, they're going to get moving.
Yeah.
So numerologically, numberly.
Nailed it.
Yeah, I got it. Nailed it. But it's 2023, so you go 2 + 2 + 3. It gives you 7. +0. Yeah, all the numbers together. But so 2 + 2 + 3 + 0 is 7, and that's that aligns with the Chariot card, which is card 7 in the tarot, and that's where last year was the year of the lovers, correct?
Yeah, choices, decisions.
That's pretty interesting.
Duality.
My own path.
and I always like that transition from the lovers into charity. Well, chariot. Makes you think.
Really interesting.
But with the chariot, because the chariot's ruled by Cancer, and Cancer is such a heart-based sign that's so reliant upon like just feeling it out, feeling good about it. And I think that's what a lot of people forget about Chariot as a card, that Chariot's so rooted in, because there's the chaos of Chariot where the two sphinxes that are in the front of the cart are looking two different directions. So you're already on the wrong foot So you have to make sure that your heart's in the right place so that you can stick with this bumpy road that's ahead. And be sure that it's this moving forward in spite of it all. And the only
That's
way
what it
for us
feels
to
like,
really
in spite of it
anchor
all.
and what really the lesson of the chariot is to anchor into what makes your heart soar, what makes you feel larger than life and makes you feel like you want to trudge on ahead in spite of it
I'm
all.
thinking of my second pop culture reference.
Here we go.
Undertale. So
Yep.
it is a video game. I'm thinking of at the very start of Undertale. This won't spoil anything.
This is one of my favorite references ever, by
You
the
already
way.
know where I'm going with this.
Yep. This is I've never played it, and this is like
Oh.
I wept when I read it.
Yes, it's the character. When you start the game, you're walking around your house and you get to explore stuff and kind of interact with things, and your character, so you can be like, oh, potted flowers, oh, my mom made that, and you walk in front of the mirror, and your character's looking in the mirror and it just says, "It's me!" exclamation mark. And then you go through the whole game, and there's a lot that happens throughout this game, and there's a lot of choices you have to make, and it's a very choice-based game where the ending changes depending on what you do. And by the end of it, you finally make it back home, and your character's standing in front of the mirror again, or you can, if you choose to interact with this, right? And the color palettes have changed slightly. It's a little bit dimmer, and I'm getting emotional even trying to say it. The character's staring in the mirror, and it says, "Despite everything, it's still me." And it's just like, oh, like that's a lot like what 2022 feels like for me. Is like, damn.
Despite everything, it's still me. So
Yeah.
hang in there and go with the flow, and just keep relying on that heart-centered area,
I really love what you said about how the chariot, like the sphinxes, are looking in two different directions, and you're already starting off on the wrong foot. Like you're like maybe not on the right path, but you're going forward with that heart energy. That really resonated with me. I really like that. So thank you, Dukes.
You're welcome. No, I think that's what a lot of people, because a lot of people just see chariot as go, go, go energy. But it's also go, 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 knowing that the road ahead is going to be a little hard.
It's also about like I love the chariot card. It's always one of my favorites. Certified horse girl. But you have to like and I love that, like the horse riding metaphor essentially for the chariot too, but like the horse is taking you somewhere, right? And you can either be aware, like dig your feet into the stirrups, pay attention, focus, and work with this animal that's bringing you forward, or you can have the reins be flying off. You have no clue what you're doing. You're unbalanced, but you're still being carried forward. So either way, like you have to take some personal responsibility and focus up, and make sure that you're seated firmly in the saddle, because you're moving forward either way, right? The year is
I
Mm-hmm.
think
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
it's
Mm-hmm.
interesting because
and they don't stop coming.
If you are not in control, you have no idea where you're going to end up.
Yes.
But you are definitely going to be somewhere totally different. And it could be way off course wherever that wild horse starts running, because there's two horses and they both want to go different directions, but you can align them together to move forward. They're both wanting to go left and right. You can align them to go forward. I really do like the chariot card too, but it also feels like an exhaustive energy as well.
It can be. If you're not heart-centered, you're gonna lose your mind. You're gonna lose heart. And that's the main pull to the chariot. I think you gotta stay heart-centered through whatever you're charging forward towards. I think is the main lesson there, rather than it being guided by like logic, right? Like facts and logic, where it's just like, yeah, I gotta do this because like I logically know it's right for me. No, what about
facts and logic are haunting my house?
Ghost non-believers be like,
I'm guessing that's a pop culture reference.
No, it was some meme that Dukes like on the other night. It's just a dumb meme.
I'll post it later. It's a good one. I'll post it in the Celestial Cafe Discord. But it's leaning into that trust in the heart rather than just like I gotta do this because I have to, right? And to me, it's just boop, it's just such an enlightening on every level, enlightening both mind, spirit, soul, physical body, to trust the heart to guide you to where you want to go, and allow it to propel you forward rather than scare you. Which like I said, I think is such a romantic follow up to the Lovers, where you're making all the choices and then the Chariot's like, okay, you've made your choice, now does it feel right,
And
does it
also
resonate?
prove that you
Yeah,
really mean that.
Yeah.
You know,
You
definitely
talk the
embody.
talk, now walk the walk.
because the Chariot card is also this really like powerful looking, like almost emperor looking character.
Yeah,
And
crown and everything.
very,
Yeah.
very in charge of their own energy. And
It's
yeah.
unapologetic.
So Dukes, do you have any specific goals for this year?
Yeah, I actually just talked about this with my therapist yesterday. Shout out to therapists everywhere. You
Let's
all rule.
go.
So I don't want to lay all my cards out on the table. I am also working on kind of keeping some cards close to my chest this year. I find that if I share too much, it feels like I've already done it. I don't know if anyone else
Oh,
feels that way.
yeah.
So there's some quiet goals I'm going to be working on, but I came up with like 3 main like overarching categories of stuff I want to work towards. And one is my health. That's my most important. My health really turned downwards over the last few years, and I'm just, I gotta get back in touch with my body and my physical self. I've spent so much time um fostering and nurturing my spiritual and emotional sides and my mental health that I've completely deserted my physical health, and now I got to bring that back into balance. That's going to be a huge priority for me this year. And also my creativity. I used to be such a little artist, and I just don't tap into that much anymore these days. So those are my big 2 that I'm really trying to lean into this year with more specific goals that, like I said, I'm going to keep close to my chest, but and sort of like stoke the flame a little bit. It's also like sort of like a show don't tell thing for me. Like
My God.
you'll see the shifts as they
And I
occur.
feel like that's I don't talk about your goals, just do them, is like that's a big thing in like the fitness community is just show what you're doing, like let the results speak for themselves rather than
Right.
constantly talking about what you want to do and what you want
Right.
to achieve. Yeah.
That's something I'm trying to embody this year, which I guess is like a secret third goal, where I'm just trying to get my shit together, and it's just like, I'm not gonna tell you what I'm gonna do, just watch me, just observe and take it in.
As a fellow air sign, it's so hard.
Watch
No,
me
trust
throw
me.
it back.
It's so hard.
It's like, trust me, I that's why I journal. That's why I gotta throw it all in. I definitely have to get it out in some way, shape, or form, and that's also why I'm a therapist too, right? Like I just get to talk
I
her head off
unfortunately
for
think
an
that
hour
my
every
closest
twice.
friends have become my journal. Rest in peace. Sorry, homies.
Listen, that's okay. It sounding boards are also good to figure out. I've also found that like I'm the type of person where like I definitely figure out what I need to do by speaking it out loud, not necessarily to anyone, but just sort of putting it out into this air, right? Gemini, thanks. And it so the right answer for me is somewhere in the middle, but like I also think there's like this cool magic and just like just shutting up and just like creating what I want to create in my life. And I'm trying to embody that, especially another thing we're going to be talking about, especially as I start to go into my Saturn return for the next few years. Because this is the year for me. This is when everything starts to shift. I've already started to feel the shifts of Pisces and Saturn. Whoa, backwards. Saturn and Pisces, just Mercury retrograde things, and just sort of trying to embody that too. It's gonna be interesting.
Fuchsia, do you have any goals in mind for this year?
Well, the big one is graduating.
Oh,
So
nice.
I could be done this semester, but I thought I still needed one more semester. I thought I needed a class that's only offered in the fall specifically, and I didn't take it this past fall because I ended up dropping it because that fun depression thing. Um,
Woohoo.
but so I thought that was a required course, so I thought I would have to take it next semester, in next fall, but turns out it's not required, and I was just taking it for funsies, I guess. So I could be graduating this semester, but I'm not prepared for that because that involves doing a capstone and
Mm,
um field seminar, field basically getting a job in the field and working,
yeah.
and I don't have a job lined up, so I will still be graduating next fall anyway, or possibly over the summer. But that is the big thing for this year, which means that I really need to fucking work on my stupid little library classification system for witchcraft books that I've been
Oh,
talking about for 2 years, because that's my capstone project, so I actually have to like it's
work.
gonna be so hard. I have to go to the witchcraft shop and look at books and read them,
Oh, the worst thing
right?
ever.
Right? Right?
Wow. What a
Um,
tragedy. No, no.
yeah,
But
yeah,
but
right? But I mean, it's fun, but it is work, but
no, yeah,
but it's
yeah.
fun. But that's the big thing. I've got some more like personal things that I keep most of my goals close to my chest, not
Mhm.
an air sign.
Yeah,
But
just earth side
but
things, yeah.
but uh I the big thing is really I've been sitting here thinking, like, what do I want to do this year, and is like I just want to find the spark again, because
Oh
I
my
had
god,
that,
I
Spark.
love that.
like I had it. I felt like I everything, like I felt like I was on the right path. I was doing all the things I was supposed to do, and I don't have that anymore. So that's my big goal. I don't How
Yeah.
am I going to accomplish that? No idea, but that's my goal, is just
It's
find the spark again, because like right now, I think the best way to describe like my feelings about pretty much everything is apathetic, and I hate that. I hate being apathetic. I'd rather be depressed than apathetic, at least that I'm
right.
feeling something.
Yeah,
But
that numbness, right?
yeah, but
Mhm.
that's just how I have been the last couple of months, and so that's my goal. Just
Yeah.
and also personal health stuff, and
It's funny you mentioned the
yeah.
phrase like relighting the spark. That's exactly the phrase I kept using over and over and over yesterday in therapy. I want to
Mhm.
relight the spark that I used to have. And that was specifically in regards to my creativity journey and my art journey,
Yeah.
um, and self expression.
Mhm.
The spark, the spark, the spark. And as someone with no fire in their chart, the spark has always been really hard to catch in my life, and to chase and to hold. I always end up burnt out, which is what I think happens with a lot of lack of fire signs. Is this burnout? We hold on to it for too long, too close, and then we get exhausted. And I want to be able to maintain and hold it and create with it and
Mhm.
inspire myself with it, rather than just feeling overwhelmed by
Yeah.
all of energy that comes with sparkingness. So
Mhm.
I definitely relate to that.
Yeah, and it's like I'm a very creative person, and that's always been like a big thing in my life, and I can't remember the last time I made anything. Like, well, no, that's not true. I covered some art classes at the end of the semester in
Uh,
like elementary and middle school. I covered some art classes, and like I did the like drawing projects alongside them like on my iPad. And that was really nice. They were like
uh,
little simple projects, but like that was really nice.
yeah,
But like aside from that, like doing something on my own, when was the last time I did anything? I don't remember.
right.
And like that's that's
Well,
definitely part of the spark that I'm missing.
let's
So
make some art.
gotta yeah, yeah. Art
Let's do
night.
it.
Let's go.
Art night. Sounds good to me.
So, Panthera, do you have any goals coming up? And I also wonder if you can lead us with your goal conversation into the blog posts that you've been working on and the overview kind of stuff that you were thinking about.
Sure. So I have been struggling a lot. I mentioned earlier, kind of since like the fall, it has been a very rough time. I've kind of let slip like all the content I was making and staying up on. The
What is
only
content?
Yeah, right. um, the content I was working on, my health. Like you guys all, a lot of you mentioned that you wanted to work on health, and I've gained a lot of weight since fall. So that's
Mm.
something where before I've gained weight steadily since being in the relationship I'm in now. And at first it was just happy weight, right?
Yeah,
Comfort weight.
comfort. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wasn't that didn't bother me at all because it was like I'm comfortable. Like and
Mhm.
I don't mind just being like a little
Yeah,
curvier and everything, but now it's starting to affect my day-to-day life. And
me too.
That's crazy for
it's
me to
like
hear because you've been so
physically things are
active.
harder.
You've been so active with your dog walking. That's crazy for me to hear.
So, but like I'm realizing that just walking isn't enough, right? At least
Yeah.
the rest of my life is what's the word? Like
Sedentary.
sedentary enough where that isn't doing what I was hoping it was doing. It's not like when I was working at the stables or even like working out consistently, or I've always been like a fairly active person, and we haven't been hiking as much as we usually do and everything. And just like food habits and things like that, it's bad. I love food, guys.
I wish we lived
Love
near gym.
bread.
I wish we lived near each other. We could just be
I
gym buddies.
know. You
Like
could come and look to Ohio. I could serve
I know we could
you.
go dog walking together. We could go to the
Oh,
gym.
So
Like
fun.
I don't
Yes.
have like that's a huge issue for me is like I'm so codependent. Like if I had someone to go with,
I'm
I'd
the
go all the
same way.
time. Like
I have such social anxiety that like I've been looking at gyms and everything, and like I picked one out, but like the idea I'm like I'm going to go in there. I don't know where to park. I don't know which entrance is the main entrance. Like I don't know where the machines are in there. I don't know where everything like
mm,
just like going through that like panics me. So I've been focusing on getting home gym stuff set up because I was like
cool.
I can't get that let that be an obstacle in my way. I know I want to work out. I know I want to get stronger. I want to lose a little bit of weight, and I can't let social anxiety be the excuse that's holding me back. So I'm actually today's day 3 of like successful working
Hey,
out every day.
wow,
So
yay.
Nice.
what
happy
the
with
heck?
that. Trying to keep an eye on what I'm eating too, and like the amounts of what I'm eating, and just trying to eat healthier in general.
God, portion
Like
control's so
every
hard for
meal
me.
has to have
That's my
vegetables. It's
problem.
hard for me too, because
Mm,
like tacos, like
mm,
I
Yum.
need, but I need to make sure that there's like vegetables, like a good amount of vegetables with that, or like Chinese
You
food.
you
I
Because
put
don't
I'll
have
just
lettuce
get
on your
rice. That's
tacos.
not
Lettuce and tomatoes on tacos. Come on.
I eat
so
plenty of
that's
veggies.
okay, but like trying to make sure like there's peppers and onions in
I'm
the
just
tacos
kidding.
too, and yeah.
My problem is like I eat plenty of veggies, but those veggies are also surrounded with plenty of carbs. Like
Cutting
way too many
down
carbs.
carbs. I'm not gonna cut out carbs, I can't. But
Yeah.
I do
But you
want
could reduce
to
at
cut
least.
down.
Yeah.
Yes, and like making sure that the carbs I'm getting are healthier carbs. So instead of like
Mm,
processed white bread, I'm getting like sourdough breads and
mm.
things like that. So just trying to make smarter choices overall. And then the creativity thing or trying to find the spark too is something else that's been because I feel like I've lost and a lot of this is imposter syndrome or but
Mm,
the fear of or perfectionism is something that's always like loomed over me when it comes to like it killed my art entirely. Um
that's
that's like
sad.
the biggest thing that it's hit. But yeah, like I just need to push that aside and get back into
What's helping me
to
is
art again
just
and
vomiting out streams right now. Like and now I'm just there's no fear anymore and I'm not overthinking anything because it's just and this when I first started streaming back in 2016, I think it was 2017 that I started doing stuff that was a 30-day stream marathon. I'll stream every day and I would just try to hit a 2-hour minimum. But I'll stream every day of April was the first month that I did it. I remember specifically because I always have that burst of energy in April. And I was surprised like the second or third year when I tried to do it and I didn't have the energy and I was like, whoa, where's my April energy? What's going on? But by like the 14th, 15th stream, like it becomes easy. So if you like these YouTubers that do like the YouTube video every day,
That sounds so intimidating to
but
me,
then you
though,
just start
in a
vomiting
way.
them out. You stop obsessing over the setup, you stop obsessing over the editing, you stop obsessing over the perfectionism, and you just start making
It's
shit.
true. I guess just like the
Also,
idea of like coming up with 30 videos for 1 month, like that idea alone is so
But that would
much
also
to me.
make you work smaller instead of these, and that's like me. Like I
Yeah.
could, that OBS tutorial that I did where it was an overview. It was an overview of OBS. It took me a month to make that video. And so there's a question here of quality versus quantity.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
do think that kickstarting yourself to jump over that perfectionism hurdle by doing a bunch of quote unquote lower quality stuff and just
So I'm kind of doing that with social media first. So my goal is like, okay, so what do I need to focus on? What is giving me the most return for the amount of effort that I'm putting in, and focusing there first and getting consistent with one thing and then adding another and then adding another until I'm back where I was. So first goal for me is like the social media. So like the Instagram and TikTok, like because it's the same kind of content. So starting there, getting consistent again, and then I want to be like doing blog posts again consistently. So, because that's something that I looked at how many blog posts I've made last year, and I was like doing one a month, if that.
that's where I am. And I'm
Um,
like, this needs to be like at
and
least one
I
a
need,
week.
yes, exactly. And it's like, especially with my crystal shop opening up now, which by the way,
Shout out to the crystal shop.
/Farrellwood Wares. Use code Celestial10 for 10% off your order. But
Say it again,
I want to be doing
etsy.com/shop/
Fairwood Wares. But I would want to be doing more crystal blog posts so that I can reference them, and like I give like little cards when you get a crystal from my shop that give like a little like blurb about what they are, what they're good for, what they can help you with, and so on. And I want to put like the little link to my blog posts that you can go and check out and read more. So just things like that, like slowly. And then I'm going to start doing YouTube is like the biggest thing that's looming over me right now. And so I'm just not even, I want to get my like feet settled on the ground firmly with making this little content first before I do that again. And so that's the plan right now.
Nice.
I have been reading again, which I'm really proud of. So like since the
Yeah.
new year, I've been like working out every day, and I've been reading every day, which I'm
Alright.
really proud of.
You're
'Cause
listening to the Hustle Everyday
I used
blogs.
to love.
Yeah.
Wake up at 5 a.m., read 40 pages, meditate for
No,
an
I
hour,
can't do that.
take a cold shower.
Wim Hof in the snow. Invest.
That's
in
awesome.
Invest.
crypto.
Go take an ice bath. God, no way in hell. But like I can read a couple pages before bed. Like I got a special.
Nice.
It's like a non-blue light book light that you can like
Oh, hell
use at
yeah.
bed, and that has been awesome. So I got a couple witchy books for Christmas, so I've been going through those. And
Ooh.
so I used to in high school. When I think about like what I used to do, I was still gamed, but that was like 3 hours a night instead of like 10 hours a day, like I'm doing. But I would
No,
What do
draw
you mean?
so much. I would read so much. Like I don't know, and I don't do either of those things at
balance, in
all
other
anymore.
words.
Yeah.
Balance. That
So
freaking word, balance. It just follows me around
Me
everywhere.
too. Yeah.
And
but also
it's
like it's
funny.
a return to like my roots. I feel like
Yes.
too for
Yes.
me. It's like
That's
what are the things that
interesting.
made me me, and like how can I reconnect to those
That's
things
the energy
again?
I was picking up last year, and then I was really
Yeah.
upset when I felt punished for following that. Maybe I was too early. Maybe I picked it up a year early. Like maybe because I feel I know everyone's
Or maybe you just felt
okay.
Possibly.
All right. I'll stop doing my superstitious
okay,
pigeon
I'm just-
shit.
It's funny because like the more that I don't know, like live life, do tarot readings, and like offer advice to people, it seems like every solution leads to just balance, just creating equal space for whatever you're willing to give space to, not too much of one thing, you know.
That's
Uh,
honestly like I know that's what I need in my life, and
yeah.
I just haven't cared enough to go do that.
Hey, listen,
And
it's tough.
that's like a huge realization for me is
Yeah.
like you say you care, but you don't care enough to actually like take the steps to actually do the thing,
Yeah,
to
yeah,
actually
Yeah.
like I
make the
know I
plan
don't
and
care enough right
do the
now,
plan.
and that's what
Right.
I need to
Right.
find the spark to care. I just broke my necklace.
Hard. That's hard though. Like you get stuck in a funk, and it's just where you are, and I did a blog post recently about like the 7 even evil reasons to not stream or something, but I was kind of digging into my pop culture references for that blog post about Shadow from Homeward Bound when he gets stuck in the mud
Oh
pit,
yeah.
and also Atreyu with his horse
Mm-hmm.
in the mud pits of despair, Artax, and how like Artax the horse probably could have fought through the mud pits of despair when it was below the little horse knee. It wasn't up past, but once it gets past that knee, like pulling a whole leg out, and the energy, so it's like you start to sink in and you start to sink in, and it's not, and now I'm thinking about dreams, like dream symbolism, when I have dreams where I'm like walking through mud as compared to where I'm like gliding over water. There's two different, I either have dreams where I'm stumbling and trying to trek through mud and my feet are getting stuck, or I'm having dreams where I'm gliding over and my feet aren't even touching the water or the muddy areas. And
Kind of like when we talked about spiritual burnout last time. Like once you start to recognize it dipping, it's so much easier to just like prevent than to dig yourself back out of this hole.
Yeah. Yeah. I always believe that like it's always the more that the same patterns keep happening, the sooner you can catch them. So
Mhm.
like it's not always bad that like something that we talk about so much in the spiritual community is the same lessons popping up over and over and over again. Paper dolls, the same people in different bodies over and over and over again. What it doesn't matter that keeps happening. What matters is how we respond to it every time. Uh
There's a sentence in chat that's just like from 12-sided guy. It's easy to forget to thrive when you're so busy surviving.
well yeah, and
Holy
then
moly.
we can even
Like,
get into talks with capitalism, how
Ouch.
they're trying to make
yeah,
us
How
yeah.
the system's
so
set up for us to
exhausted.
fail.
Yeah.
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 So I'm
Yeah.
Like that.
thinking I was thinking about the repeating patterns that you were just talking about, Dukes, and it made me think
Yeah.
of a meme I saw the other day about Mercury retrograde. So
Right.
it's a character who's like pleading to another. So it's one person that's saying, "Can't you stop messing up my life?" And they're talking to a character called Mercury retrograde, and then Mercury retrograde is thinking to itself in the next panel, and it has two buttons it can press, and the first button is point out a repeating dysfunctional life pattern so it can be seen and corrected and healed, or crash her computer so she'll get some healing time out in nature instead.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it feels with like Mercury retrograde, is like you're either going to notice these repeating patterns that you've been dealing with over and over and over and over and over again. Or it's all gonna, like, if you don't notice those little patterns early enough, it's eventually going to turn into this big crash of
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
and
that's
that's
why
what
awareness is so important.
yeah, and that's also like why it bothers me when like Mercury retrograde happens and people blame everything on Mercury retrograde, and like yes, like
It's fun to do that
it
though.
does it yeah, but like beyond the
Everything
funness
to
of
an
it, like
extent, right?
Now I'm
but
thinking of another meme
but
where
it's
the
just like but the thing is that yes, I mean, I'm not saying Mercury retrograde doesn't fuck shit up, but why is it getting why is it getting fucked up? Because you didn't take care of your
because
shit
you need to
before
pay
it.
attention to it. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm thinking of the meme now where the moon's in the sky and it's like, why does everyone always blame me? Your life just sucks, bitch, or something like that. Like something like it's I think it's fun to be like, oh, Mercury retrograde, and it
Yeah.
kind of like
Yeah.
relieves a little stress in the moment because it's
Mhm.
but then I guess
Right.
there maybe is a
Copium.
danger of, yeah, it's
It's
copium.
so easy to just blame anything else
You're
except for
not
yourself.
and you're not
Yeah.
taking personal responsibility
Mhm.
for it. Yeah.
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 Yeah, it's
You
like
can live in copium, sure,
mhm.
but and it lessens the blow, but it reminds me of like the comfort zone's a beautiful place, but nothing ever grows there, like sort of
Yep.
sentiment where it's just
Yeah.
like there's only so long you can do that, right? Until it blows up in your face, like during Saturn Returns. And usually that's probably the first big checkpoint of people getting their just desserts of just like not taking care of themselves, not adulting enough, not taking care of their lives and their to dos. And at least astrologically. There's a lot of little moments too that can happen more mundanely where you get a little bit of a wrist slap
Or a
from the
wrist
universe,
break.
or a wrist break, perhaps. No.
I'll stop making the reference. I'm sorry. I saw the pun opportunity. I had to jump on it, you know.
But and that's the thing. Like, I think that at the end of the day, like, knowledge is power, and just staying aware, staying in tune. That's what's gonna, even if you don't do anything about it just yet, just the knowledge that you are here participating, aware, and because we talk about this concept so much too, about NPCs, about people who are just like, once again, we there's so there's so many layers to this, right? Where we could talk about how capitalism births NPCs, because it's just that's the only choice that people have to survive these days, is to go to their 9 to
Got to
5s
be
and
a
just worry
cog.
about,
Yeah.
exactly. And I don't blame these people for being like that, but it's also at the same time, like, when and we're with fear of sounding like wake up sheeple, it's also like we got to tap in with ourselves most of all, and just listen and stay alert. And the more that we listen to ourselves, more that we listen to our own signals, our own shifts, I mean, eventually enough will be enough for us, and we'll need to change, right? But
Yeah.
there's we just need to be aware and be
I
in tune.
I also feel like even if you're not ready to act on anything, being
Right.
aware stops the patterns, because
Yeah.
because you're aware of them now. So even if
Yeah.
you're not ready to act to change things, it stops the repetition.
Right. Knowing is
Um
half the battle. That's the
yeah.
Well,
phrase,
because
right?
you don't get stuck so like you don't get stuck in the mud. So there's plenty
Mhm.
of experiences I've had in the last couple of years where I've become very aware of like toxic patterns I find myself stuck in with like other individuals. And
Mhm.
the ones that you're deeply entwined with are usually ones that are the biggest like symptom of it, and you're like, oh, all of the energy exchange that's happening here, like this is the problem, and then you have to untangle that, which is often incredibly painful and scarring, can be untangling that, and then you start to look around at the other relationships or individuals or whatever, and you're like, okay, this is also like there's this energy exchange going here, it's not as deep. And then
Mhm.
once you've unrooted it the first time, once you've kind of gone through this pattern the first time, it's the most difficult, because you're also having to accept bad things about yourself too. You're having to
Yeah.
understand that you allowed this to happen, or you participated in such a way, or your energy was reciprocating it in such a way, and it might make you feel bad and gross. And this is shadow work too. It might make you feel bad about yourself. But then the next time someone starts to, or something, or a job or a pattern starts to show back up, you might get a couple of days or a couple of weeks into the storyline of it, and all of a sudden you're like lucid, and you're like, wait a second, this
Oh, this is very familiar.
this is the same story I just dragged myself out of. Let me just put the brakes on this here, because
Mhm.
no one's going to get hurt right now, or nothing's going to get hurt. It's not too deep. And this could be like the way you're going about streaming, the way you're going about content creation, interacting with people online, romantic relationships,
Yeah.
friendships, mentorships, the jobs you're taking on, anything like that that starts to become like toxic to your life, and you're trying to correct it, and then you fall back in, because we only, and I've talked about this before on the podcast before, but the path through the woods that's trotted the most becomes the easiest to travel, and it might not be
Mhm.
the best path to go.
Absolutely.
So
But
you
it's the
have to
easiest.
forge a new path sometimes, and it's more difficult, but it's better in the long run.
Right. And I think that this year for me is going to be a lot about, because we also have many paths that we constantly go over and over again. And I feel like the paths that I used to love and that were best case scenario, that were kind to myself, have overgrown, and I want to recreate those paths. I want to retrudge those paths and allow the ones that no longer fulfill or suit my needs to become a little mysterious again, and a little bit more out of touch for me. It's I want to get reconnected with those woods that I left behind for a little bit. Um,
So
and
I'm gonna pull us back here for a second and put the microphone back in front of Panthera's face. You have, because we're pushing a little over an hour, and I know this is probably going to be a big chunk here. You've been working on a blog post that was about retrogrades, I think, but you've also kind of got an overview of. So let's see where Panthera is going to take us here.
So I thought our first step might be talking a little bit about I know Dukesley, you wanted to talk about the wolf moon a little bit, and since that's tomorrow, maybe we can do like our
Yeah.
first little brief thing about
Yeah,
that.
we could do that.
I think the wolf moon is this great catalyst point that we can kind of use. So many of us have goals, and we're very aware kind of what's holding us back now at this point, is what it feels like. I feel like 2022 is kind of this reflective period that made us very aware of our patterns and what is kind of holding us back. Now we kind of know what the problem is, and now we have to put forth the energy, right? That chariot motion to actually fix it. But the wolf moon is like all about scarcity, self-reflection, self-discovery, kind of like if you think about just like the hunger of winter as a metaphor here, shedding what doesn't serve you or what isn't essential, right? Like so that way you're left with the bare minimum of what you need to make it through to spring, so to speak. But what are those like kind of one of the big themes of the wolf moon is just like what can you shed that's not serving you, that's holding you back from actually like achieving those goals. So this is a great time to kind of manifest or catalyze those that release of what isn't serving you and that bringing in of what you need. Yeah, so I don't know if you want to take away the astrology
I
portion.
will.
It's a
I will.
Cancer too, right? Which is very defensive
Yes.
and watery and emotional.
Well, the fact that it's in Cancer, I think, really aligns with the chariot stuff we were talking about as well. I just want to say, first of all, this moon is the first one in a while that is not in aspect with Mars or Saturn. Finally,
And that's happening tomorrow, right? Full moon.
Yes. Yes, finally, we get a little bit of a breather from two malefics in the sky, and the moon kind of gets to breathe easy. This is the first moon in a while that I'm like, whew, let's chill. Uh, and not to mention that it's going to be accompanied by a phenomenon called Mercury Cazimi. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that, but a
Not a
Cazimi.
freaking clue.
Okay, so
I've
Cazimi's.
heard it.
It
All
sounds
right.
fun.
It is fun. I like Kazimis. Kazimis are good. I get 2 big thumbs up from me and a fidget toy. So so Kazimis are when a planet they're considered in the sun, the heart of the sun. It's within 1 degree of the sun. Uh, cool beans. So that means that think of it as it's super powered for a little bit. The sun is just giving it all of its energy, all of its love, and so Mercury is receiving this, and that's going to be happening the day after the full moon. But still, the energies are pretty overlapped, and I think that with this full moon in Cancer, and not to mention that the moon is at home in Cancer. This is its happy place. Excuse me. This is where it likes to be. It thrives here. It and the Cancer is the sign of like I sound like a broken record. The heart space. It really is. It's what we love. It's what we want to nurture. It's this perfect mother symbol of patience, kindness, gentleness, and to have it back home, have Luna back home in Cancer. It's always a good time for her. So it's very harmonious right now, and not to mention this Kazemi with this Mercury feeling very energized and happy, even in retrograde, because Mercury's going to be in a good space for the next few days. And I think that with this combination of the very tender moon meeting this very chatty, conversational, empowered Mercury. This is a really, really good time. One, for rest to kind of tap back into yourself, but also open conversation with yourself and really get to some roots of, I don't know, some goals that you want. This really is a good time astrologically to think of some goals like we've been talking about tonight, for yourself. And specifically, like I said, have a conversation with yourself, whatever that means to you. Sometimes we conversate through imagery, sometimes we conversate through words, through music, through song, whatever works for you, whatever you can do to get in touch with yourself. And really settle back into that heart space and figure out what you really, really want to embody and manifest and uh, uh, charge towards this year, just like the chariot, with a centered and calm and empowered heart. I think that this is like I said, this is one of the first uh beautiful calming moons we've had in a while. It's been pretty chaotic for Luna for the last few months. So this isn't really necessarily a time for action, but this is a time for mental preparation, heart preparation, and sort of leaning into that.
Yeah, just kind of like a reflective time, like I said, of like
Yeah,
getting kind of your ducks in a row mentally, so that way, like maybe in these next few months, you're now rolling right
yeah,
forward
Yeah.
with what you've discovered.
Yeah,
definitely.
I
I agree.
remember like last year when we did an episode around the I think it might have been the winter solstice episode or it was January. I remember us talking about how it's one of those things where we are kind of like as a society out of touch with the natural cycle of the seasons because New Year's resolutions, people want you to go, 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 but like
We're
like
still January.
historically
It's so cold.
and like and astrologically, this is the time to be planning but not
Mhm.
doing.
Yeah,
And so like that all falls in line with that. And that's also why like don't beat yourself up so much about not getting started on your goals right
yeah.
away or just getting not even like still figuring out how to get your footing on your goals. This is that time
You
instead
still
of
have
but
360 days to figure it out.
whereas like but societally
Right.
New Year's resolutions you go 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 but like if we go with the seasons and the astrology and the moon, like this is not the time for that. This is the time for planning, this is the time for thinking, this is the time
Yeah.
for looking
And
inward to what you want to do,
yeah,
but
this is
you don't
the
have to go.
vulnerable step. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
for sure. This is
Yeah.
like the vulnerable, safe steps,
Yeah,
baby
at
steps.
least here in the
Mhm.
northern hemisphere, this definitely feels like an introspective,
Yeah.
quiet time of
Yeah.
and reflection.
Yeah.
Absolutely, of
Mm.
looking back. I think that for me, and I like we talked about it earlier, but I feel like a really good exercise to do over the weekend is to reflect on where you were in January of 2022 and just think about everything that's happened since then and
Yeah.
what you, if you can, dig up your posts that you put on your Facebook status or whatever. My goals this year to do this, and look at what your resolutions were for 2022 and how did you achieve those or how did you fail those or not live up to them. Do any of them still carry over to 2023? Like for me, I know I was like wanting fitness and I know I was wanting to focus on my streaming and make streaming work. That's a phrase I always say is like make it work, make my online stuff work. And what does that look like? Like what does it mean to make it work? And where will you need to be? And be really realistic with yourself. Like it's,
Yeah.
I can have these goals for like what I want my body to look and feel like. And there's no way I'm going to achieve it in a year. It's not realistic.
Mhm.
You have to be realistic
Yeah.
with yourself about where the progress will take you. And this is why I think leading with a process over results, the journey, man, the it be here in the moment with it rather than obsessing over where like the numbers and stuff. On that being said, I do think that tracking your progress can be very helpful, especially when you're doing stuff like elimination diets. And I mean that not just in a health way. I mean like elimination diets with your online stuff or like however it is that you're going about things. Like I'm going to quit this job and switch to this job. Tracking your money, tracking your food intake, tracking your expenses,
Mhm.
tracking your energy levels and your moods and I started this job and now all of a sudden my moods are always like this, or I, got into this
Yeah.
relationship and suddenly I never have any energy anymore. And like tracking all of that kind of stuff can be helpful, but it can also be like it's not painful, that's not the word I want to use, but distracting and for me, like when I get into like my little charts and graphs, I get a little obsessive over it. And then if I miss one day of writing my results down or tracking them and I miss 2 days, I give up on all of it because I didn't keep record and now it's all ruined. And so it can be toxic if you're not careful. So,
that's that perfectionism again,
Sure.
right? It has to be perfect or it's not worth it.
I
But
think-
sometimes just good is enough.
yeah,
Yeah.
just freaking doing it.
Having
I don't
80%
know.
of the days is better than having 10%.
And then like doing a little
Yeah.
bit of prep work for yourself. So I have been able to just spam my streams back to back and just like make quote unquote lower quality streams. Because I did a lot of work over 2022 to create my stream scenes, and I prepared the tools that I needed to be able to just make content in a short burst. Like, so obviously you can't just, I'm using streaming as an example here, but we could use a home gym, we could use whatever hobby, you're painting, you want to start knitting something every day, making a little sock, making a little glove, making a little plushie animal.
Do you know how long socks take?
No, I don't.
Deceptively long.
I don't. I have no. Socks sound hard to me. A scarf sounds like easy, but if you
Scarves are easy.
But what can you knit in a day? A little cozy or something, right? Like a little square, and the little squares add up, and you can make a patchwork quilt by the end of the first couple of months or something.
Yeah.
Like doing a little bit every day to just stop psyching yourself out about it.
Yeah. No 0 days.
And sometimes it is okay to have a 0 day,
Yeah.
because that's the other thing is like you get sick of the shit and you don't want to make yourself hate it. So if you just like loathe the idea of it, but there's other times where it's like if you can just push through it a little bit, like it's just your mind being an asshole. Your brain sucks. Like your brain is a big doo-doo head sometimes.
My brain sucks so much.
I mean, the what is it? The set a timer for 5 minutes. Do what you got to do. You usually end up doing it for 20 minutes. Like that kind of mindset. Like
Your mind
sometimes you
will
just have to start.
It'll play so many tricks on you, and I learned this with like the practice of lucid dreaming. Your mind will do the craziest stuff to get you to do what it wants to do for the dopamine fix or the whatever it is. And not like we're so stuck, and this could go into another big conversation of capitalism and like Dukes is talking, but we're so stuck on this short-term instant gratification right now that it's getting incredibly hard to set and achieve long-term goals that don't deliver something every day or immediately. And I think that's it's a symptom of a bigger problem, and we're not the podcast for it, but
So I think real quick, I'm gonna, because I feel
pull
like
us back. We're having an interesting conversation today. I didn't really know where this podcast was gonna go, but
We haven't even gotten to our Christmas presents. Wow.
True.
Want to do that real quick?
Well, Panther, where do you think you should go? You've got an out. You've got.
No, I was going to redirect back to moons just for like a quick second.
Let's
and I was
finish.
gonna
Yeah,
dive
let's
into
do that.
retrogrades,
Let's do
'cause
that.
Retrogrades have been coming up so much this conversation.
Yeah,
so
let's do it.
that's what I researched the most for this year, so I'm excited. But so we're not going to talk a ton about moons because we talk about moons every month. So I did come up with a quick blog post if you guys are interested. It's got all of the new moon, full moon dates, the astrological information, as well as the traditional name and everything on my blog. So that will be linked. And then we have a blue moon this year, which is fun.
Bruh.
So it'll be on August 31st, and it's also going to be a super moon. So we have all of our super moons in a line this year: July 3rd, August 1st, August 31st, and September 29th. So we've got like a whole pocket of like extreme lunar energy.
Oh my god, that's fun.
Very fun, very interesting. So definitely stay tuned. Keep an eye out for those upcoming episodes. We'll really dive into them there. But essentially, supermoons are an amplification of the moon's energy for that month. So supermoon is when the moon is visibly the biggest because it is on its like axis. It is closest to the Earth during those times. So that is why we have supermoons.
And that's in Pisces.
Yeah, we've got a couple of them. Yeah, the blue moon is going to be really fun. So, and then the blue moon is our 13th moon for this year. So, the blue moon is whatever the second moon is during any given month on the year that we have 13 moons. So, it'll be in August. So we'll have the sturgeon moon on August 1st, and then we'll have the blue moon on August 31st. So, that is for the moons. Now I'm gonna dive us into the
And you
retrograde.
just, before we move on from the moons, you just like that just sparked something that I should do, because like I keep being like, oh, I should really work on my book of shadows and everything. At the very least, I always do a spread for the full moons, for the moon every year,
Oh yeah, that looks
for
awesome.
the new moon, quarter moon, full moon. So like I always do that. I
Yeah, that
haven't
could be
done
a
that
nice
yet
little
this
thing to do.
year.
Yeah.
I haven't done that yet this year, so that's my first spark, getting back into it.
Aw, cute. I love it.
Awesome.
So thanks, Panthera. Okay, now
All
on to
right,
the
now it's time
retrogrades.
to get depressing. We're gonna talk about retrogrades. Wah, wah, wah. So I did a whole blog post about retrogrades. I just finished it tonight. Don't at me. So it's
You've
not
been
super
working your
finalized,
little
but the
booty off,
information is
though.
there. This took me a lot longer than I expected, and I'm so happy with it. So let me know what you think. But it gives a little brief synopsis of what retrogrades are, what the shadow periods are, and then it goes through each retrograde type. So we got Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, all the planets essentially, and talks a little bit about what they are, what that planet usually rules over, when the retrogrades and shadow periods will be for this year, and then I have like a little blurb and section about like tips for surviving that period of time. But I think one of the most important things when it comes to retrogrades is they're all the time. Like at any very rarely do
Yeah,
we ever have no planets in retrograde.
they're
So
a
it's less
very
about
common thing.
exactly, exactly. And Mercury is so infamous for retrograding because of how fast Mercury orbits around the sun. Um, it is constantly going in and out of retrograde because of how quickly it moves compared to us. So essentially, what causes a planet to go into retrograde is because of it's an optical illusion caused by us viewing the planet from Earth. So because the planets all move in different paces and different shapes, slightly different ellipses around the sun, it can sometimes look like when you pass a car on the highway and you as soon as if you're like even with them slash just going past them, it'll look like their wheels are moving backwards to you. It's the
Yeah.
same concept essentially. So the planet looks like it's rotating or moving in the opposite direction of us even though it's still moving its same path. So what this means in astrological speaking is that there is more like confusion during in that like area that the planet rules over. It can cause things to be brought up to the surface that you might have been ignoring in those areas.
Mhm.
It's not always necessarily a bad thing, kind of like the tower card, which gets a bad rep. The tower was already going to fall, right? Or what's the moldavite gets like a really bad rep too for a similar thing. But usually
Yeah,
these things are already gonna crumble. It just, like, makes it happen a little faster or, like,
right.
brings more attention to those areas, causing them to crumble or whatever.
And
So,
I think,
yeah.
like, also relating the phrase, like, optical illusion to the astrological sense of retrograde is important, where it seems like everything's falling apart, but really everything's falling apart together.
Well, and now I'm thinking about Bruno from Encanto, where everyone was like, Bruno said I was going to lose my hair,
What is
and then I
that?
lost
3,
my
4?
hair. Probably 4.
Yeah.
Bruno said I'm going to lose my hair, and now I lost my hair. Bruno said my fish was going to die, and then my fish died.
Yeah.
It's not Bruno's fault.
Correlation
Yeah.
is not
Mm.
causation.
It's not Mercury's fault. Like, it's not, but it's drawing attention to the things that were already in the
Yes.
process of happening anyway.
And
Yeah.
and that is also, like, a bigger
That poor Bruno
We don't talk about Bruno.
and
proceeds to talk about him incessantly for the next 5 minutes.
Bruno? Okay, call me.
We don't talk about Bruno. We sing about Bruno.
Sing about Bruno.
and it's just it's exactly that though, because it's like it just and I think this is like also a bigger discussion with astrology itself, where it's like the planets aren't making us do anything. It's just we're seeing reflections of the energies of the
As above,
planets.
so below. We're dancing
Exactly.
down here, they're dancing up there, and we're doing the same
Exactly.
thing, just on different scales. Yeah.
Exactly. That they're not making us call our ex. They're not making us
Oh, okay, wait.
uh
But they might be bringing up
Turn
those
on the road.
unhealed wounds that you have, right? That are causing you to miss someone that you shouldn't be missing
Yeah.
because you have
Right.
codependency issues or whatever, right?
Are
It might
you
be.
actually adding me right now? Hold on.
Hold on now. Yeah.
So first, I guess let's dive into Mercury, right? The most infamous of the retrogrades because of its frequency and probably too because of what it rules over, which are some very very important concepts in our current society especially, but communication, technology, travel, self-expression, coordination, curiosity, all these very mercurial things.
Coordination. That's why I've been dropping so much shit lately.
Yeah,
Yeah.
coordination is a big one. So that's one of the
Rules the
reasons why
hands.
like travel can also be
I,
affected, but making sure that your plans are more fluid and less structured during this time, right?
Mhm.
Because the coordination part of things might not be
Yeah,
going.
no, I always have these. I've always had these days. My mom would call them days I have the dropsies, where like,
Aw, the
like
dropsies.
I will just like I will not be allowed to handle anything that's remotely fragile because I will like just be dropping things all day long. But like
I think
that
I
has been
have 5
that
dropsies.
that's been like what's been happening like all week. Like I have just been like I spilled tea on myself like while we were getting ready. I spilled soda on my desk while we were getting ready. Like
Oh
I've
yeah.
just been like I've been dropping things like all over the place like this whole week. Never thought of it as Mercury retrograde. I'm also just a big
Yeah, it's like
klutz,
general
but
clumsiness, tongue-tied words all over the place, and definitely like nostalgic feelings of reflecting, and because it's a big time of looking back and not even really realizing you're doing it. You'll just start to get a little nostalgic. You'll get that little twinkle in your eye and be like, things were so nice 3 months ago. Like I miss like you get that, and then it's also going to bring up pattern from the previous Mercury retrograde back like several ones because it's just a repeating energy cycle over and over. So definitely have felt like and again, like the other thing is that this retrograde, any of the retrogrades are going to affect everybody differently, and it's going to depend on where Duke's going to have to help me with this, but I'm guessing where Mercury falls in your birth chart, or like
Oh yeah, definitely.
when Mercury's in retrograde, it's retrograding, it's placed in a certain house during that transit, so you want to look at that house on your
Definitely.
astrology chart, and that's kind of how Mercury retrograde is going to be playing with you a little stronger than the other areas. So astrology is a whole deep study. It's you can sort of blanket statement some stuff, but it's really not as simple as blanket statementing most of the time.
Yeah, it's
I just
extremely complex and nuanced, essentially.
I just want to say, in true Mercury retrograde fashion, my recording stopped for my audio about a half hour ago. So there we
Oh,
go.
wow, okay.
Oh, no.
All right, we'll
Little thing.
figure that out.
well,
Just maybe
Little
double
things,
check mine.
We got Cooper
Yeah.
barking. We got.
So then
So-
let's talk about some of the ways that you can kind of like prepare or handle Mercury retrograde a little easier, right? Because I think some of the advice is always just like avoid these things until the end of Mercury retrograde. But there's 4 Mercury retrogrades and they all have a pretty decent shadow period too, which shadow periods essentially are supposed to have the same effects on a minor scale as like the energy increases up to the retrograde and then decreases after the
oh
retrograde.
no, the
So-
shadows are always what's the hardest for me. Like the actual retrograde, smooth sailing. The shadows fuck me up. So
yeah, what are you supposed to do? Like not communicate during
No,
like
not at
4
all.
months
I
of the
again,
year?
I
Right.
think this is awareness. I think that
Yes.
Yeah.
if I
And
understand
preparedness.
that because I definitely get moments of like I'm sure I'm not the only one. You scroll through your gallery and you get like a year or two back and you're like, oh damn, I really miss that friend. I should call them. Like and just because you're feeling nostalgic doesn't mean Mercury's retrograding. But I think when you're aware of some of the astrological patterns that are happening, you might be less likely to act upon the urge to call your ex. That's a big stereotype. Or to reach out to the friend that was a shithead to you and subtweeting you and all of this stuff, and then you're suddenly rose-tinted glasses, pun intended, for myself, thinking about how the good times you had together, you know, they weren't so bad. And I really miss when we would go get lunch and have margaritas together. And then you call them up and you act on it. And then 3 or 4 days later, they're shit talking you to a friend again. And you're like, oh, this is why I ghosted this friend, or this is why I'm not with this friend
Or
anymore.
trying to like get like a bunch of your friends together for a spur of the moment trip right now. Like that might not be like
Oh
the best
Lord.
way
It
to
could be a
go
little
about
cursed,
things.
I would never.
because
Oh my god.
that's where like miscommunications are going to come in. I might book the ticket for the wrong date, and these are all like superficial surface layer
Or
things
your
that
plane gets canceled and you don't have a backup transportation planned or anything like
a
that.
good example
Yeah.
I can use is I tried to order I tried to upgrade my cell phone during a Mercury retrograde one time, and instead of getting the upgraded price, they tried to charge me the full $2,000 that the phone was worth, and they tried to put it on my brother's credit card since we share a phone account, and then I had to like call, and I had got canceled my call to the people where I was escalated up to the manager, hung up in the middle of the call, had to go back in the waiting line, get back up through. That is prime fucking bullshittery
Mercury.
of like I should have waited 3 weeks to order my cell phone. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. And of course, life must go on sometimes.
of course,
and
yeah.
and sometimes you gotta get a phone no matter what. But there are some people that
Yeah,
like
there's people who are like, don't buy a house during Mercury retrograde. I'm like,
sometimes you need
so
a house.
with the
If the house goes up that
housing
you want,
market,
you're gonna get it. Like,
with
or
the
try
house
to
market,
at least.
the housing market, how it is right now, if the house goes up,
It's also
you
just
go fucking get it.
like, don't live your life in fear is the other thing. And
Yes.
you can also feel in your gut like when to do stuff and when not to do stuff. So always
Yeah.
trust your intuition, because again, it's
Yeah.
nuanced, and your chart might be blessed for the Mercury retrograde.
There's a lot of people with natal Mercury
Yeah.
retrograde,
Me.
and this is normal for them. This is just another day of the life, and that's usually how it manifests anyway. But of course, everyone's chart's different. Everyone has different lived experiences, but for the most part, Mercury retrogrades do cause a lot of minor inconveniences in a lot of people's lives. And my always go to Mercury retrograde advice is back your shit up. Back it all up.
So this is a
Triples,
great
doubles.
time. Double check, triple check. Have backups of physical things, right? If you're going on a
Yeah.
trip, make sure that you have 2 phone chargers. You know, anything
Yeah.
that you need that's very important. Double check where your IDs are, right? You're just you have your checklist that you go through and double check every single stop that you do. Do I have everything?
So
Am I leaving anything behind?
what other retrogrades do we have going on besides Mercury
We have
retrogrades?
all of the
Mars.
retrogrades.
Is
this
there
year.
anything, because we're
currently right
starting
now
to
just for 2023.
we're starting to push on time a little bit. So is there anything major we feel like needs to be discussed from like the upcoming transits that you looked at?
We've
I
got
have a
the
lot,
4
actually.
Mercury retrogrades.
Heard?
We do have a Venus retrograde, which is in July. That mostly rules over love, money, attachments, and things like that. So be warned. All of this information's on my blog post too, which I put in chat a little bit ago, and it will be down in the description. Mars retrograde starts in October, and that will be going, or it started back this past October and is going till the 12th. So we still have a little bit of that left. Jupiter
It
retrograde
ends
is going to be
just in time for my
September.
birthday.
Nice.
I'm so happy about that.
We've got a Saturn retrograde starting in June. We've got Uranus, which is going on now and ending at the end of this month, and then starting again in August. Neptune is going retrograde in June as well. We've got June is going to be a little bit of a rough time. It
Yeah.
sounds like.
No.
Expect lots of tumultuous things in June.
My birthday
Also,
month.
this
Me
is something
too.
that I love about like looking at things now is we can see so much is going on then. You might want to back up your photos and stuff maybe in like May before it gets to June, or like
Yeah.
make sure you've got a little nice nest egg saved up for that time if you have like a business whose income can vary a lot, right? Like once you know ahead of time, you can kind of plan accordingly. And then lastly, Pluto will go into retrograde at the beginning of May. So
Yeah,
those are
and
all
we're
the
gonna be
retrogrades.
talking a little bit about that too. Like that's gonna be a pretty significant. Pluto's gonna have a bit of a party this year.
Yeah.
For sure.
And then
Um,
lastly, really quick, since we're talking about like the planets are going to be easiest to view on certain days this year too. So they're going to be at the position where the sun is reflecting on them enough where you'll actually be able to see them visually with the naked eye. So astrologically speaking or planetary magic wise, the ruling planets will be a little stronger those days. Might be a really good time to do a working with them. But so
mm,
Mercury, this is going to be 3 times this year, the 30th of January, the 29th of May, and then September 22nd. Venus, this is June 4th. Saturn, August 27th. Neptune, September 19th. Jupiter, November 3rd, and Uranus, November 13th. And those are all the planets that we can physically see from the Earth.
word. I'm down for that. Yeah, those are really good days to work with those respective planets. You can see them, you can point at them, you can wave at them, they'll wave back. They can see you, you can see them. It's a good time. Definitely recommended for those who work with the planets to check out those dates and also just to look at them. I mean, just like a month or so ago, we were able to see Jupiter hanging out right next to the moon. It was amazing, and Mars too. It's always really humbling to be able to see the celestial fun before our very eyes because we speak so much about them magically and even scientifically, right? Like without super strong telescopes, there's only so much we can take in, but to see it with the naked eye is always a magical experience. Recommended to enjoy those things. There are a few astrological moments that are happening this year that will result in some shifts. I think the biggest one is Saturn will be moving into Pisces. So shout out to anyone having their Saturn return. That's gonna be me. Is that you, Panthera?
What year were you born?
1994.
I'm 1995, so I think I'm.
You might
Maybe.
not. I
I'm
think
gonna have
you'll
you
have
look at
it.
my chart and let me know.
Okay, no problem. I think we both fall under Saturn and Pisces. So everyone with Saturn and Pisces, put your hands up because we're about to have our Saturn return. For those who don't know, the Saturn return is an astrological phenomenon that is fear-mongered, admittedly. But I don't know. It's a little scary, right? Saturn's the planet of getting your shit together, of responsibility, maturity, time itself. It's a very
Double checked. Yes, I am Saturn and Pisces. Okay.
it's
Sorry.
oh you do okay so it's a stoic planet. It's a planet of maturity and of responsibility, and it is
Can't
moving.
relate.
Right, and I'm Saturn dominant. Saturn's in my first house. I'm already feeling it, right? And a lot of us are that have Saturn and Pisces already confronting these relationships with Saturn. Once again, mature, responsible planet, very I call him Zaddy. It's Zaddy Saturn, right? Like he's gonna let you know when you fucked up. He has no problem with disciplining you if you are not disciplined, right? I feel like that this is the planet that I get a little like smacked up with the most. And
It's like
once again,
the disciplinary parent is like.
yeah, but he's very stern, very loving, right? He's not gonna like kick your ass, but you're gonna get there's gonna be punishments if you don't do what you got to do, whatever that is in your life, right? But Saturn's going to be going into Pisces in March. It's going to be in Pisces till 2026, so this is going to be a nice long transit for all of us. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be moving from Aquarius, where it's a little bit more comfortable in Aquarius. Saturn's at home there, and then it's going to be going into dreamy, intangible, enchanted Pisces. And imagine this kind of like, I don't know, earthly, down, mature, responsible Saturn kind of going into this very like Luna Lovegood, heady Pisces moment. And I think that we're going to be seeing a lot of revealing of illusion. And these hard truths coming forward. Um, People are not going to be able to hide behind masks or facades for much longer. I think Saturn's going to bring a lot of those things to light and reveal a lot. That's a word I keep coming back to, revealing. what are you hiding? Very Suramar. We're going to see some structures dissolve, but we're also going to see, I feel like we're going to see a bit of an art renaissance as well. I think of hippies and stuff like that with this placement, which is one of the previous Saturn and Pisces
There's
moments.
definitely a kind of like breaking away from the norms mentality that's
Yeah.
happening a lot lately, and I think we're only going to see that push forward. But I see this a lot in the spiritual community and like the homesteading kind of community too,
Yeah.
like breaking away from systems.
Yes, and that's only going to be backed up with Pluto shifting signs as well. Pluto's going to be moving from Capricorn into Aquarius, also in March. So March is going to be a kind of a fun month as we start to make some really, really big shifts. And Pluto's going to be in Aquarius until 2044. Really, really long time. And I would like to also take a moment to say that Pluto entered Capricorn in 2008. So that's 15 years of Pluto fun. I could personally go back to 2008 and notice some big themes that had started at that time that have persisted with Pluto's lessons and knowledge, right? Pluto is the one that really controls power and power struggles. And I like what someone said in chat, honestly. Evil Intent said, honestly, we need to break away from the current norm. And I think that's going to happen. I really do. I think, once again, this is a very long, slow transit. So it's not going to happen overnight. But I do think that this year is going to be a big year of watching and observing current positions of power begin to crumble. And like I said, illusions beginning to shatter, which I think a lot of the current norm is based upon false lies and fakes, people lying and gaining power through
Literally, there was some senator or person on the Congress or something like that up in a northern state that got elected or something, and then they realized that his entire resume of going to
He
this
made it.
college, doing this thing, it was all just complete bullshit.
He
But
said he was Jewish. He said like it's all lies, literally all lies.
and I think that's a
These,
good example of what Dukes is talking about right
yes,
now.
we're gonna start seeing a bunch of that. I really, really believe that. So start noticing those things. And once again, it's not that astrology's doing these things, but it's reflecting. It's kind of amazing how this works. And I also want to bring attention to Pluto and Aquarius. We're gonna. I mean, we've been seeing this. Technology has only been an upward spike in developments, but it's not going to slow down anytime soon. Pluto and
It
Aquarius,
almost feels like it's ramping up more too. Like
it's
it's
just going to keep
crazy.
going and going and going and going, and it's just so hang on tight because I think we're going to be a little out of control. We're going
Hold
to be
on
seeing
to your
robots
butts.
right now together.
Did you say
Wait,
robots?
what number
Robots.
of pop culture references are we on now?
What did I do? What? Oh, hold
Hold
on to your butts.
That's Jurassic Park.
That's Jurassic Park. Yeah, all right.
Really? So like, oh, wait, I know this one.
A couple other things I want to touch upon that's going to be really exciting this year, on a more positive note, maybe, because I think that these two are going to cause a little bit of stress. But Jupiter in Taurus is going to be really cool. I think that's going to be happening in May. Eye of the beholder. I'm sure some people will be overwhelmed upon hearing that, but it's to me, I just associate that with, so Jupiter, planet of abundance. Oh my God, the magnifying glass of the sky. It just illuminates and doubles and triples anything that it's occupying. And when I think of Taurus, I think of just this earthly comfort. And I think that we're going to see, it's going to be interesting because we're going to have this Saturn in Pisces that sort of destroys the comfort zone. And then we're going to see this pull of Jupiter in Taurus that's going to try to keep us in our comfort zones and really like build upon that and like encourage that. So we're going to be dealing with some balance there, I think. And another one that I want to bring up is the nodes are going to be shifting again. This happens every 18 months, so this isn't too crazy, but we're going to be seeing the nodes shift into the north node in Aries and the south node in Libra. And the north node is this placement in the sky where it's just sort of where our soul feels very directed towards. It's very subtle, but it's more important when you look in your natal chart. But I think that when we have like this transit nodal shift, we're gonna just see like this more, once again, like societal shift, right? Of priorities. And the Aries Libra axis deals a lot with, here's that word again, power. How we assert our power. And Aries is very ego-centered power, which ego's not a bad word here, I don't think. I think ego is just, it's what you want, right? And
Power
what
the
you
self, right?
right. And Libra's more for the people. And I think we're going to be turning a little bit away from that, more following more personal goals, right? Rather than like just, but I think that could be a good thing, because I think that uh when we focus on ourselves and we focus on our communities and we focus on our immediate surroundings, that ripples out to the greater the greater world around us, rather than us like fighting these big fights, right? I'll be interested to see how that turns out over the next 18 months. That'll be happening in July. So that's really all those are the big shifts that I think are going to be happening over the next year. Most of them happening in the first half of the year. But it'll be fun to observe, I think. And like I said, good luck to all of us with Saturn in Pisces Saturns, for our Saturn return. Should be interesting for those. Any of you that are like already in your early 30s, mid 30s, you've already gone through your Saturn return, by the way. So shout out to you.
Yay, I'm aging.
Yay! It happens to all of us. It's my turn now.
Mine too, apparently.
Haha,
I
you
was not
fucking
mentally prepared.
babies get worked by Saturn.
What the?
I mean,
It-
honestly,
Wait.
when I went
Dude.
through when I went through my Saturn return, I didn't know Saturn return was a thing, but the shift is like at that age is like,
For
holy
me, it
crap.
was
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
massive, and when I look back on my late
Yes.
20s, I'm like, that is so freaking clear what Saturn return did to me there.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
exactly.
it's to the point where like there are some people, and we gatekeeping or not, it's just worth mentioning that there's some people who don't like to who won't get readings from others who haven't gone through their Saturn return yet. They want that extra layer of understanding just how it's such a big shift for so many individuals.
So there's
That's so interesting. I've never heard that.
Yeah.
Oh no, it was a good shift. It was just very,
if you
very
think about it,
different and impactful and powerful.
if you think about
Yeah.
it, in America, the president has to be at least 35. That's gone
Right.
through a Saturn return. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I do feel like when people have gotten past that Saturn return, they're full adults at that point. Like I feel like that's like the start of adulthood to me.
I'm not ready.
Well, and it's not so much that like late 20s
Yes, you
aren't
are.
adults, but
Yes,
I
you
think
are.
it's like polishing off that first layer of you, and then you're starting the second layer. And there's a question in chat that says, "Do you always go through a Saturn return around the same age?" And
Pretty much.
generally, yes. It's around, what would you say, like 26 to 29 years old ish?
Isn't it
I
like
would
30?
say
Like 28 to
with-
30 is how long Saturn takes
yeah, I would-
to do its cycle?
yeah, I'd bump that up like a year or two. Like 27 to 30 is usually the
Yeah.
Saturn return ages. And it, but you know, like it's a over the range of 4 years. I'm not good at math, so it's
Yeah.
somewhere late 20s, early 30s.
Because-
That's your Saturn
Yeah.
return bracket.
Because
Saturn's-
Saturn takes a long time to go through each sign.
It takes
so,
27
yeah.
years to rotate around the sun one time.
Yeah.
So we're still, it's your first Saturn birthday, right? It's
Right.
1 year in Saturn time. It takes 27
Yes.
Earth years to complete.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And when Saturn's coming back around, because as Dukes expressed, zaddy, responsibilities. So I consider this like a mini midlife crisis, because you're going to get this first like cycle around where you're like, this is what life is. This is what I've been doing with my life. This is what am I doing? Like it's
The
a
quarter life crisis is real.
it's a quarter life crisis for sure, because we can live about 100 years, and you can go through about 4 Saturn returns,
if you're lucky.
depending on your health and things like that. But so the second Saturn return is around 54 to 57, the mid 50s, right? And that's a lot of times you see the stereotype of the midlife crisis of the man
Yep.
just divorcing his wife, buying the Ferrari, you know, because it's like,
Yeah.
what have I been doing with my life? And these kinds of revelations start to come up. and it's your first time going through it in your early 20s, and by the second time you're going through it, I think that the buying the Ferrari situations get a little more dramatic because you've already done it one time, and then by the time you get to that, think about Mercury retrogrades. We're talking about, think back 3 months, what was going on with that Mercury retrograde, the patterns that are repeating. We only have a couple of months of like we have them happen so often that we can reflect better. We only have a Saturn return happen a couple times in our lives. So by the time the second one comes around, we're like, this pattern's been going on for 50 years of my life. Like, this is the same thing. My whole life has been like this, and I didn't want it to be like this. I wanted to be an artist, and what am I doing? Like, you know what I mean? It creates a very, like, and then dramatic shifts happen. And it's just a matter of how well you navigate through them, when feeling the rumbles of them happening, preparing yourself for them, and gently easing yourself through them instead of doing the dramatic, quitting everything. Because like mine did end up being sometimes that's what you need to do. I did do that, but I certainly could have prepared for it better and had a nest egg and been set up for it a little bit better. If I had a bigger understanding. Yeah.
We have homework for everybody who's about to go through their Saturn return. You have to find that art of Kronos eating his son, Photoshop your face onto it, and then tag Celestial Cafe TV in it. Whatever social media you put it on. Me and Dukesy will go first. We'll take the pictures after this. And
don't do it, Saturn.
That's your homework.
So I'm gonna wrap us up here because we're at the 2 hour. Dukes, I see you look back at your notes. Did you have something more to add?
I just want to show off my tarot deck.
Okay. Before we tie, we're gonna wrap up today by chatting about what we got for Christmas. And if y'all are here in the chat and you would like to share with us what you got for Christmas, especially if it's witchy related, did you get a new tarot deck? Do you have any cute coffee cups you want to talk about? I didn't get any witchy gifts, but I did get a new round brush so I can curl my bangs when I blow dry them.
Glamour magic.
Glamour magic.
You can also show us in the Discord too. If
feel free.
Yes.
Please
post things in the Discord. I want to see everything.
We want a materialistic moment. We want to see all the cool witchy stuff you got for Christmas. It's one of the best parts of Christmas. You got a nice
crystal necklace. Let's see it.
Please. Yeah. I would love to see it. I got a couple things, mostly tarot decks. I got the Rainbow Tarot. Adorable.
So cute.
It's a little
so cool.
Yeah, it's a little out of focus.
Colorful and I love the like slightly abstract art.
Yes. Oh, it's just amazing. Here, I'll show. I don't know what cards I'm gonna pull out. Here, we got Six of Swords. It's also Rider-Waite-Smith clone, of course, knowing me. Here's like the Two of Pentacles, juggling. There's their fun little hat. It's gorgeous. So beautiful. I got that on Etsy. I'll post a link to it and stuff if you're interested. And this one I'm fucking thrilled about, honestly. The Adventure Time.
You finally got it! Yay, I'm glad you finally got it.
The Adventure Time Tarot, that rules.
I am so excited. I'm a diehard Adventure Time fan. It's one of my favorite shows ever. And this tarot deck in particular, you can tell that the person who made this both loves tarot and loves Adventure Time. It's incredible. Just the associations are perfect. I mean, this alone, the Ice King as the Fool. Come on, it's perfect. Because I've seen so many people put Finn as the Fool. Get real. He's not the Fool. It's an Ice King. And it's just like that kind of knowledge that's in this deck that just makes it amazing. But there's one more thing I want to talk about real quick that I got, which was a very, very generous gift from Panthera, from her crystal site. And consider this an advertisement for her Etsy shop for a moment. I purchased these two crystals. Here's this big, beautiful rose quartz that I just keep picking up and observing and rolling around in my hands all day long. I keep it right next to me all day. We got this big, beautiful rainbow moonstone, which is my favorite crystal ever, that I've only ever had in the jewelry form, and I finally have it physically. It is so beautiful. It has this beautiful shine and luster to it. I just keep looking at it over and over, and she was kind enough to throw some extra goodies in there for Christmas and for celebration's sake. I got this double rutilated amethyst. I love it. I keep picking it up. And I probably should put it in my mouth, but I do.
I thought you would like that one. Though. I was like, this looks edible, Duke. So
yeah, it's definitely been in my mouth at least
The
once.
forbidden Jolly Rancher.
I got a
Nope, your
You cut
mic
out.
might
stopped.
cut out there again.
Hi everyone. I got a strawberry quartz tower. So beautiful, so shiny, so sparkly. I'm literally obsessed with this. Look at this. It looks like an obsidian, right? But this is a rainbow fluorite.
Yeah, it's
And
like that deep purple. I love
Yeah.
it.
Wow.
dark, and when I
Mhm.
lately, like, I'm like inspecting it, and then there are just these beautiful lusters of rainbow going throughout it. It is so cool.
You need a UV flashlight to like really look at it.
Oh, that's such a good
Ooh.
idea.
That's fun. And giant selenite wand. You could never get enough of these. These are amazing. So please, it's. I know that sometimes people are worried about buying crystals from Etsy. About like, oh, like, are these ethical? Are these like coming from like a good, healthy, energetic place? Panthera seriously has it all. The amount of love, care, and protection that have smothered these crystals and all the other cute goodies. She also sent me some cute earrings, adorable. It's all there. It's crafted and curated with such care. Please, please, please check her out.
You
It
better
is
clip
so
this and
worth
put
it.
this on your website, Panther.
110% worth it.
Crystal Instagram.
That's all I gotta say. Those were my witchy gifts. I also got a rice cooker.
Ooh,
Woohoo!
Nice.
witchery. I love it.
Awesome.
Nice.
I'll go next because I
Go for
have
it.
mine right here. First off, my boyfriend got me these crystal lights. I have the blue ones.
Cute.
It's hard to see, but like they're these little crystal like fairy lights.
Aw.
I love them. So I have these. They're these blue tealy ones. That are
I love
shown
it.
there. It's kind of hard to show on camera, but I'm so excited to hang those up. And then I got a couple witchy books. So this is Plant Witchery. It's hardback.
Woo!
Hardback books.
Oh.
So excited
Wow.
for this. My little green witch heart is like singing. Really excited to dive into this one. And then the other book that I got, which is upstairs by my bed because I've been reading it at night, is The Crooked Path by Keldon, and I've been loving it. It's like a beginner's intro to traditional witchcraft, and really, really enjoying it so far. It's very beginner friendly. I love the history that Keldon gives. Great exercises, the perfect amount of like theory and then like doing. So
Cool.
really enjoying that. And then the last thing is I got for myself. I got these beautiful
Wow.
journals. So these blank journals. Look at the little castle.
Oh,
the
that's
night.
so.
So these are by at the Creeping Moon on Twitter, Instagram. I'm sure that they're there too. But the most gorgeous. Look at the sides. Like I love them.
Nice. Yeah.
So I've also got a bunch of washi tape and stuff like that from them. So if you do order from me, chances are your crystal might be like taped up with a little bit of washi tape. I have been loving their products. So highly recommend.
So beautiful.
I got a couple books. I'm excited because so my sister lives in Salem, and she just goes into the local witchcraft shops and that know their shit, and not like the touristy ones that are like on Main Street of Salem. But she always gets me really interesting things. So she got this book called Witches, Sluts, and Feminists that actually when there's witchcraft books about like
That's all
these
of
topics.
us.
when there's witchcraft books about these
Me
topics,
too. The jury's out on that.
I tend to be a little wary because sometimes like they're all like like I'm super progressive but like kind of shitting on women who are not
More
what I want them to
traditional,
be.
yeah.
So, but this has really good reviews, so I'm excited to read it. It's by a blogger who writes for The Slutist.
I've heard of that. Yeah.
So it's a short book. It's like a collection of essays that I'm excited to read. I've been saying since my my whole heartbreak in October that I'm going to go through my villain phase, but I think the signs are pointing to me going through a slut phase instead. So
Oh, cool.
I'm here for it.
let's do it.
We're rooting for you on the side.
And she also got me a book about making magic candles, which I have a candle shop. COVID totally derailed my plans to. I set aside a day to restock my shop, and then I got COVID, so it's not restocked still. But it's like it actually goes into like details about making specific candles for specific like specific moon phases, and there's like midsummer candle and like dream candles and stuff, which I'm really excited to just like up my knowledge even more about that one. So I'm really excited to get into that. And then I got a few tarot decks. Well, I got 2 tarot decks in an oracle deck. And I got the pagan cats tarot.
That's so
Aw.
cute.
I
I
haven't-
love that.
I haven't really looked at it much. But like the fool won me
Oh.
over
Aw.
immediately. So so
Aw.
it's like
That's
yeah, I'm
so
stepping out, but
cute.
also I still want to be nice and cozy on my
That's
little
adorable.
cushion.
Yeah.
Like, but so I haven't really looked at this one yet. I will be doing videos on these now that I've been waiting.
Nice.
Now that I'm not sick anymore, I've been waiting to do videos. This one I'm really excited about. It's a Christmas tarot.
Cool.
And
Ooh.
it's ghosts of past, present, and future. And it is only the major arcana, and it's set up to be read for past, present, future readings specifically.
Wow.
So, and it's like in the book, it gives like specific readings for the past like position and the present position for every card. So
That's
I'm
really
really
cool.
excited about that because I don't do past, present, future readings a lot, but whenever I do, I get a lot out of them. So like this is specifically for that. And like you probably can't see very well, actually you can. The imagery is just like so creepy that you don't normally think of for
Yeah.
Christmas, but I love it. I love it. And then the last one, Dukes knows I got this. I
I'm
finally got
excited.
the Brian
Yay.
Froud's Fairy Oracle. I have been wanting this for years, and
One of my
I was
favorites.
just so happy to get. I haven't really looked at it much yet. I've been waiting to do videos, but I did. I did not realize it comes with a whole ass book,
Yes.
like a whole book about fairies. Like,
Yes.
Hardback.
Like a hardcover
Yeah,
book.
that's
yeah,
great.
yeah. So if you don't know Brian Froud, he is like the fairy expert. He did like all the designs for the Puppet Sun Labyrinth and
I have
what
so
what
many
Dark Crystal.
I have
And
so
he
much
has a bunch of fairy books. Yeah.
there's I used to go to a used bookstore all the time where books were like $3 to $5 each, and I would always go to the big picture book sections, and I found a fairy book one time that had all kinds of different people's art in it. But the reason I would get these cheap used books is I would rip the pictures out and use them for wall decorations. It was in my like super cluttercore like collage decorating style, and I have so many fairy artworks by him that I didn't know were him, because that cover I have that used to hang on my wall over here.
Yeah.
And
There's,
just
like-
they're so pretty, and it's like very like whimsical, like blended, airy. It feels very airy.
Yeah.
So
And I haven't used this, but I know Dukes has this deck, and
I love it.
she loves it. So like any
Brian
tips
Proud,
for it?
he has the sight. That's all I'm gonna say.
Mhm.
This dude knows his fae and is the person who I trust when it comes to fae work. So enjoy. It's one of my
Yeah.
favorite decks.
One of the other things is it comes with a blank card is your fairy
Yeah.
guide, and you're supposed to do like an intuitive like drawing of who your fairy guide is. There's like a whole
I love
exercise
it
in the
when
book and
people
everything.
do blank cards or oracle decks.
I'm really excited about this. I knew it was a good deck because I know Brian Froud, like I have a bunch of his books and I know like he's great, but like I didn't expect this. And I'm just
It's
like, and I
amazing.
knew you liked the deck, but like I didn't expect it to be like, wow.
It's an
Like,
experience. Enjoy.
yeah. Yeah. So I'm excited
You're
about
gonna love
that
it.
one.
Yeah.
Okay,
Merry
so
Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everyone. I'm from a family that's not very good at gift. I don't want to say that, but like, there's not a lot of gift giving. We grew up really
Mhm.
impoverished, so um, I often have a hard time when it's like time for people to share their Christmas gifts because, like I said, I got a brush. You know what I mean? And I got some sandals and stuff, but all throughout high school, growing up,
Mm.
everyone's like coming in. Here's my new cell phone. Here's my new MacBook, and I'm like, I got 3 pairs of pants from Walmart. Like, you know what I mean? So
I got socks and tissues from my mom.
I
So.
just want to do a shout out to those of y'all that might not have gotten anything for Christmas,
Mhm.
or might not have a
Yeah.
lot to share, because I feel you.
Mhm.
Sending my heart out to
Yeah.
y'all too.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think that's gonna probably wrap us up for this episode. Whew, that was a crazy episode. We were all over the place, but I feel like we're kind of like year at a glance. I'm feeling a little chaotic for this year after like going through this episode. There's a lot happening, and there's a lot of feelings, but there's a lot of goals, and so let's keep ourselves lined up for it, eye on the prize, slowly but surely. The better prepared you are for energetic shifts, the more likely you can surf on top of the wave instead of getting sucked down under. First episode back. Happy New Year, everyone. I hope y'all have a good 2023. Thank you as always to Panthera, Fuchsia, and Dukesley for joining me for a wonderful conversation. Thank you everyone so much in the chat for hanging out. I do want to say that we got 103 subs on our YouTube now, so thank you very much for helping us get 100. And if y'all are listening on the podcast platforms, we do record this live on Twitch on Thursdays around 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can follow us on our social media for updates about when we're going live and get some clips, some highlights from these episodes. If you're listening on Twitch or YouTube, these are available on podcasting platforms as well, iTunes, Spotify Podcasts, all of the good ones. And you can get all of these links at celestialcafe.org, including the link to our Discord if you want to join the community, hang out, chat, share your Christmas gifts, or share your new tarot decks or anything like that. But yeah, thank you all so much for joining us today for this conversation. And if you want to catch me and Dukes doing some Final Fantasy XI, if y'all are here live, you'll be able to catch that. It's happening tomorrow. But I imagine that Dukes might be back. I've been playing a lot of 11 on my channel lately. I got the MMO bug, but it's a 20-year-old MMO. So do y'all have anything that y'all want to tell the Star Drops about?
Oh yeah, I actually just put out my year ahead reading on Phasey. It's my favorite reading I do every year at the beginning of the year. We look at 2022 for just a moment, and then we look at 2023. Very, very excited about that. So if you are interested in getting a glimpse of the energy that's in your beautiful little circle of existence, I'm your lady for right now. And I also have a coupon code, Celestial 15. I think it'll be up to like mid-February. It should take 15% off of any of your orders till then. And that's about as long as the year ahead reading will be up to. So feel free to check that out, and let's have a good and healthy and prosperous and abundant and safe 2023.
Let's do
We
it.
got this.
And real quick, because she did a shout out for me, but I get one of Dukesley's year ahead readings every year, and it is absolutely fantastic. Dukesley has such a magical way of delivering the reading as well too, and it's always so nice to be able to look back on throughout the year as you move forward. So, cannot recommend enough. I will definitely be using that.
Getting any reading from Dukesley is like curling up on the couch with a good book and a cup of tea and some fuzzy slippers.
Truly.
It's so good.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I love being here. I love to do it.
I will finally be actually making content again.
Yay.
That's it. That's it. That's my big announcement. I like the whole time I was sick with COVID, I was like, I want to make this video. I want to make this video. I want to make this video, but it's too exhausting to sit at my desk, even if I'm not on camera. So like finally, I'm like, yay! This January we'll be making content, and I will be restocking my shop. And once I do, there will be a coupon Celestial 10 once it's
Dope.
for like a month after it's restocked. So all of y'all can get in on that because I've only been saying for 3 months that I'm restocking. So.
And I guess I'll wrap up by saying, like, I have been streaming every day for almost 3 weeks. Tomorrow will be 3 weeks in a row, except for the weekends. I'm taking the weekends off, so I'm back to streaming full time right now. Tentatively saying that. I'm hoping it'll keep going. I got to work the gym in, so YouTube and my blog have taken a bit of a backseat to make space for the routine of that, but I feel pretty good about 2023, and here's hoping that we're all going to be surfing the waves and getting the content made that we want and staying consistent and having our goals realistic and attainable and taking little baby steps to them. So thank you everyone so much for tuning in for the live stream of today's episode. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of the first week of January, and we'll see you next week. Does anybody know what our episode is about next week?
It is you and Panthera.
What are we talking about?
We're talking about magical timing. So
okay.
Like, unless you want to talk about something else.
News to me. No, I'm kidding. I just I've not been retaining any information besides what level I get a certain ability in Final Fantasy 11. So what something's selling for on the auction house in 11, I'm retaining that. So we'll see y'all next Thursday for that chit chat. And yeah, y'all have a wonderful night, and we'll see you soon. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye bye.